Hello and welcome to Mind Over Matter for February 18th, 2016. Um, Today's topic is reflection. And it was a really important component in anyone's success is to spend some time reflecting on what I found most important is success, actually. Granted, one of my, flaws would be the concept of celebrating successes because I'm often looking for the big scale success to celebrate as opposed to taking time to appreciate the smaller victories that lead up to the big ones. So, having said that, I do want to talk to you today a little bit about the idea of reflecting and understanding the pieces of the puzzle that you need in order to accomplish your goals. In 2015, I spent a great deal of time in reflection, just towards the end of the year. There was many things that I was not very happy with regards to where I was headed, the direction, time I was spending doing certain things. I spent a lot of time focused on the work that I do. And one of the things that I realized was that I'm not doing things that are fulfilling my dreams in any way. Now, many of you come to the Mind Over Matter webinar through the Global Online Franchise. And you'll have arrived at the Global Online Franchise with some sort of plan. You either A, or want to make money online, or B, you want to learn some new skills, or C, you want to become a better marketer, understand the internet marketing process better. All great reasons why Global Online Franchise gives you, or all great reasons why you have chosen Global Online Franchise. What I find often when I'm working with some of the people within Global Online Franchise one-on-one is that there are, I think, far too many situations where people do not apply the proper reflective perception, perspective. Sorry, the proper reflective perspective. Big words. When they are analyzing the work that they do. Because most people are doing all of the right things. However, they are not seeing the results that they expect based on a perspective that is not accurate. So you go into something and you think that the outcome should be this, and it doesn't work out that way, so then you want to change things. And then when you change things, things don't work out, and then you want to change them again, then you want to change them again. Before you know, all you do is change things all the time. How do you have any concept of getting to, or how do you have any chance of getting to momentum or things happening? Here's what I find. I find that too often we compare the results that people are showing to and compare them to our own. And 9.5, if not 10 out of 10 times, in my experience, has the comparison been that of comparing an apple to an orange. Aside from being fruit, they have nothing in common. Same too, if you're comparing the results that, for instance, Alec Herring posts in the group to motivate you to get better, some of you who are doing similar activities that Alec is doing, and when I say similar activities, I mean you're advertising your links, you're using different methods of marketing, you're doing all these things. But then when Alec posts his results, you look at your results and say, well, I'm doing what Alec's doing and I'm not getting my results. What you failed to do in this scenario was understand that what you're doing right now is exactly what Alec Herring was doing at one point, that I was doing at one point, but we didn't advertise that. Why didn't we advertise that? Well, because during the growth stage of this process, there's nothing to advertise. So, if you were to compare an apple to an apple, what you should be doing is comparing your results based on the same time frame with the same amount of effort and the same amount of sacrifice that Alec would have had at that same moment. What you will find, likely, you may actually be ahead of Alec Herring. Why? Because we've provided the global online franchise to show you that here's the shortcut. You don't have to figure all this stuff out. Alec and I produced the automatic cash club so that actually could show you how to utilize letters in your get response accounts. He produces training on PPC. There's all kinds of training in global. So all these things that normally people, if they wanted to and they didn't know anybody in the industry, would have to go online and figure it all out for themselves. Spend some money learning this, that, and the other thing. We put it all together in one spot. So you'd be ahead of where he is. However, when you sit back and you look at where you are now and where Alec is now, he's 55 million miles ahead of you, but yet you're comparing the results that he has way up there at the finish line. It's not the finish line, but way up ahead, miles and miles and miles and miles and miles and miles ahead of you. And you're comparing his results there to your results miles and miles and miles behind. Is that fair to you? Of course not. It's not, because you're comparing an apple and an orange. But here's the beauty. As you reflect upon the results that you have and realize that during your reflection that you are bridging the gap between you and where Alec is, because you have the fast track that Alec didn't have. Alec will be the first to tell you that he spent a lot of years on the internet making no money at all, ever. He tried everything and anything. He did what the gurus told him to do. Things didn't work. But as he practiced and developed his skills and got better at what he was doing, guess what happened? There's a tipping point. And when you hit that tipping point, then the money starts to flow. It's like it's running downhill. But it requires the patience to get there. So if every time you get to a little bit of a space where you look at your results and you go, I'm not making any money. Then you go back and you look at Alex, look how much money Alex making. I'm not making any money. Okay, I'm doing something wrong. I'm going to have to do something different now. That's a problem. Because what you were doing was absolutely 100% right to get to where Alec is already. But as soon as you change gears, you got to go back to the start. And every time you go back to the start, you're starting over and over and over and over. You can start over 786 times until you push through that space where you think you're doing nothing. You can't accomplish anything. Until you push through that space where you think you're doing nothing, you can't accomplish anything. You have to push through that space where you feel like you're doing nothing. This applies across the board. It doesn't just apply to internet marketing and global online franchise and advertising income snap. It goes well beyond that. It can apply to your everyday human life, your relationships with your children, your marriage, your relationships with your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the heck it is. It all applies with your job, with the people that you deal with. If you're retired, with the people that you spend time with, whether you challenge yourself in other ways once you're retired. In every facet of life, the second you walk out the door, actually doesn't even have to walk out the door. If you're challenging yourself to personal growth, which might involve books and audios inside your own home, you clearly are going to face some space where you feel like you're doing nothing, where you feel like nothing is happening. But honestly, that's where the magic is happening. That's where the 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 seeds are growing. Under the soil, you can't see them. They tell the story of the bamboo, and bamboo can grow to be amazing heights. But here's the story about bamboo. You plant a bamboo seed or shoot, and it will remain underground for a long time. And when it grows, it will grow very, very slow, slightly above the ground. And then it'll stay like that for up to 5 years. It'll look like a stunted growth of nothing. And then the course of the next year, the 6th year, it will grow to heights that you can't even believe. How does this happen? Well, in those first 5 years, it's the roots. A lot of nothing, quote unquote, is happening. You can't see it, but it's there. The roots are growing. They're getting stronger and deeper and spreading out and intertwined and strong and hardy and building a foundation and the capacity to hold up this 100-foot tall bamboo tree, bamboo stalk. And without the time and the effort in that space where it feels like nothing is happening, the bamboo would never grow. It has to go through that first stage. So do you. So do you. So too do you. There we go. We live in a world of instantaneous success. No, we live in that's not true. We live in a world of instantaneous result. What we expect of instantaneous result. A friend of mine used the phrase, we live in a microwave time where everything takes 2 minutes. I once worked for an individual who every single task he ever assigned to you took 5 minutes. We once had a job to do that took me about 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours to accomplish. And his frustration on those days when he needed me to do something else, and I couldn't because I told him I won't be out of there till X time because that's how long it takes. His response was always the same. I don't understand why it takes you so long. It just should take you 5 minutes to do this. So one day I sat down and I broke it all down for him. Here's all the things that I need to do, and here's the times it takes to do them. Some of them are only like a minute and a half. Some of them were 5 minutes. Some of them were 15. But when I added it up at the bottom of the page, it equaled roughly 3.5 hours. So if there was any little bumps along the way, it stretched to 4. And if everything went as smooth as silk, I could get out of there in 3. It wasn't until that moment that I was given the leniency to actually accomplish that task in the time frame that was manageable, rather than unrealistic expectations being placed on me because of what the perception and perceived amount of time it should have taken. It's the same concept when it comes to your marketing and your advertising. You believe that your numbers should be the same as somebody who's been doing it for 10 years and pushing through all the problems and figuring it all out and then hand delivering you all of the right answers. And you feel like you should be in the same place as them. It's not even remotely realistic. Especially if you have to learn the new skill to start. We'll give you the shortcut from the perspective of you don't have to figure it out. You can just trust us. Because if you're just learning and you don't have somebody to teach you internet marketing, there's a bazillion opportunities for you to learn something on the internet. And sadly, a lot of them are garbage. And you will learn nothing. And you'll have wasted your time. Here, you have the opportunity to learn from people who are doing what needs to be done. But you're going to have to understand your position versus their position, and make sure you maintain the proper perspective. And the only way to accomplish that is to stop, pause, and reflect. Mind over matter for Thursday, February 18th. We'll see you guys next week. Take care now. Bye.